So we are chatting tonight about time management, and this is something that I am very strongly passionate about. I would not say I'm the best at it. I try to practice what I preach as much as possible, but I do really believe in finding your systems and the business hours that you want to set, because it's very important that this business enhances your life and brings blessings to your family, and not something that we don't want to take anything away from your family. So when you signed up, we did not want this to become something that your husband like rolls his eyes at because you're always on your phone, or your kids are like, "Mommy, like, get off your phone." We want this to enhance your life. So we're really passionate about getting time management skills in place, and Shannon's going to talk a little bit more about that, as far as like time management and self-management. She told me something the other day that kind of just like blew my mind and has changed everything for me. So I'm going to first hand it to Shannon, and then Ashton is also going to speak a little bit about setting business hours and just why it's really important to make specific time slots for your business. So Shannon, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hello. So Jackie and I were talking, and Ashton were talking about time management the other day. And I told her, like, one of the best things I ever heard was not that we as humans have time management issues, because we all get the same 24 hours in a day. Nobody gets more, nobody gets gypped and gets less. Like, we all have the same amount of hours. And so it boils down to self-management. So what are we doing with our time? What are we, something like I like to evaluate is, what am I intentionally allowing into my time? So that goes to, what am I listening to on the radio? What am I watching on TV? What am I picking up my phone and purposely scrolling Facebook? Or am I just unintentionally spending time scrolling Facebook? I mean, I know we're all guilty, especially, those of us that stay at home. It's so easy. I was talking to my friend Lauren about how I carry my phone from room to room in my house, and I'm so guilty of sitting there folding laundry and picking up my phone and scrolling Facebook. And I'm like, what in the world am I doing? Like, it's so unpurposeful. So that's going to be like one of my things, is that I'm conscious about what I'm allowing myself to spend time with. And so time management can come to how you spend the first hour of your day. They say how you spend the first hour of your day determines the rest of your day. And so, sometimes that's hard, because sometimes a baby wakes you up, or sometimes one of your kids wakes you up. But sometimes it means setting the alarm and waking up before the kids do, or trying to get up even just 15 minutes sooner on this day, and then working your way back to where you're able to get up and get some personal development in. I used to be really, really good at that, and for some reason I kind of fell off, the wagon, I guess you could say, of getting up and getting that personal development in first thing in the morning. And I'll still get it in throughout the day, but for some reason, just getting it in first thing in the morning kind of determines the way the rest of my day will go. So self-management is if you listen to like anybody that personal development videos, my husband's really big on personal development videos, and they will say to schedule out everything. Schedule out time with your spouse. You schedule meetings at work. You schedule, you'll write on your schedule about a baseball game. You'll write all these things out on a schedule, but remembering like what's the priority in your life, to unplug and spend that intentional time with kids. So write that in your calendar. If you want to write out, and I think one of them is going to talk about it, but if you're writing out your day-to-day routine or schedule, like say, okay, from 3:30 this would just be me, or 3 o'clock when I leave to get Clay from school until 7:30 when all of my kids are in bed, I don't need to be on my phone. I don't need to be working during those hours. I need to self-manage myself to purposely and intentionally spend time with my family. Then at 7:30, the kids go to bed. So if James and I, my husband, spend an hour together, which, I mean, we're normally always in the living room together, but if we still purposely spend that time together, well, at 8:30, I can say, well, I'm clocking back in from 8:30 to 10, or whatever it is that works in your schedule. But trying to self-manage your time, something that Ashton had said when we were talking about this, like, you know, Target, their employees don't just come in and work all day or just work whenever they want. Like, they have scheduled periods of when they're going to work, and their manager tells them that. And so it's the same for us working this type of business. We are our self-managers, so we have to self-manage our time so that we're not becoming overwhelmed, or we're not becoming stressed, and we're not becoming, you know, defeated in anything, or overwhelmed or burnt out. Like, when we start self-managing ourselves to make sure that we are allowing ourselves the downtime and allowing ourselves work time separately, I think that's going to, you know, definitely help us to be more successful. And I think one of them are talking about, like, how many hours you work a day. But, like, for me, Jackie and I and Ashton, once again, we're talking about, like, I'm putting in a lot of hours right now working because I want this to be successful. I was telling my husband, I was like, if I could put in 30 hours a week, I know that sounds like a lot for a nail business, but I guarantee if I can put in 30 hours a week, or, you know, for some of you that work outside of the home, that's 30 hours a week is not going to work. But if you can find time, I remember I owned a boutique. I'm going to be real quick. I owned a boutique that just recently closed. And when I opened that boutique, I knew I worked full time at the time, and Clay, our oldest, had just turned 1. But I worked 40 hours a week. I worked a full-time job. So I knew I was going to have to find time between working a full-time job, caring for a new baby, pretty much, he was 1, and then this new business adventure. So I knew, like, it wasn't going to be in the morning because I had to leave my house at 5:30. And I knew it wasn't going to be in the afternoons because I had a baby to take care of in the afternoon. So I knew it had to happen after 8 o'clock. So I can't tell you how many nights I would stay up to 1, 2, 3 a.m., like, just burning the midnight oil, like, going through my head, training myself, figuring out, like, what's going to work for my business. And so you've got to determine, like, how bad you want it and figure out what hours you can manage yourself to work for the business. But yeah, that's all I got. And I'll mute myself again.
I love those. I love the self-management thing because I've just got to manage myself. I'm so bad at just managing my own self. I can tell my kids what to do, and I can tell my husband what to do, but then when it comes to myself, I just tend to, like, slack. And the mindless scrolling on Facebook and Instagram is my number one bad habit, and I've got to stop that. So I wanted to chat really quick before Ashton. I literally have like 3 things, nothing profound. But I do want to chat about what you want out of this is going to determine the hours you put in. So like Shannon was saying, she wants this to be a successful business. She wants to go to the top of the company. She wants to be a top stylist. She wants a big income for her family to help out in so many different ways. So obviously her why and her what are going to determine how many hours she puts in. So when you think about, and then that's really important that we sit here, and even if tonight you have to, after the call, sit down and really think about what you want. And if that's just to make a tank of gas a week, that is totally okay. And we support that 100%. We want what you want out of this for yourself. So you need to sit down and just think about, what do you want out of this? That's going to determine how many hours you put in. So obviously, for you who do just want to tank of gas, you're not going to be putting in 30 hours a week. You don't need to put in 30 hours a week. But for those of us, and I personally, same as Shannon, I'm like in this, and I put in a lot of hours right now, just because number one, I have them, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I have those hours, and number two, that's just what I want out of this. So I knew if I wanted to be a top stylist and if I wanted to make a big income for my family, I have to put in those hours. So your why is going to determine your way. So whatever your why is, that's going to determine your way, how many hours you put in, what kind of things you're doing within those hours, and things like that. So my biggest thing is finding little slots throughout the day for those of you that work full time or don't have all the hours like us stay-at-home moms have. So you're going to maybe you can't make the call every Thursday night. That's totally fine. We're always going to record it. You can watch these recordings when you're driving to work, or you can watch them when you're getting ready for work, or when you're cooking dinner, or on your lunch break. Just finding those little slots that you can get that business time in, kind of like clocking in and out. Even if it's 15 minutes, count that as business hours. Be intentional and just have your checklist of things you need to do. If you have not seen our little checklist that we have to do every single day as a stylist, that's in the units section. So go find that, print it out, or copy and paste it into a separate Google Doc and have that so you can have a guideline of what you need to do, and that can kind of make you go down, it gives you a checklist of things to do. And then thinking about this time of year, and this is my last thing before I hand it over to Ashton. This time of year is the busiest time of our entire year, and it's everyone's busiest time. So this is when it's going to be easy to kind of like make that excuse of, oh, I'm busy, I can't put in the same amount of hours, or I can't build my team like I did last month, or I'm a new stylist, why even start to get, a team when, we're just going to get busier and busier. These are the important months where you really start to lay that foundation of what's going to come in 2019. So these are the months that are so important that we get down, we buckle down, we be intentional, we focus on what we want, and we continue to work for it. And whether that is working an hour a day or 5 hours a day, just don't waver. Whatever you do, just write it down, know what you want, set those hours, and then just don't waver from it. Because what's going to happen is January is going to come, and there's going to be girls on our team who like ran with it these last 2 months, who rank advanced these last 2 months, and then January comes and they're on fire, they're so excited, and they're ready to take 2019. And then there's going to be some girls who got busy and used that excuse and didn't rank advanced, or maybe they were at team leader and then they fell back down to senior stylist, or they didn't BQ anymore, and they come into 2019 defeated already. And that's not where we want to be. We don't want to come into 2019 defeated or regretful that we didn't take those 2 months to just stay buckled down and in our work. So I want you to remember in the times that it's going to get busy, just make sure that you're getting on your calendar. And y'all can even use that app that we have for our calendar, and you can make your own calendar. So you can go in, you can make your own calendar in a separate calendar, and then you can write in when you're going to work, what you're going to do each day, things like that. So I think that's it, Ashton, if you want to take it over.
Can you guys hear me? Am I good? Okay, so business hours. So 2 seconds, I'll give you a little bit about me. I worked retail from my junior year of high school until we moved from California to Tennessee, and I hated it for like 100 of reasons. But number one, mainly, I am not a good employee. I don't want to work for somebody that's going to tell me what to do. Sorry, not going to happen. So before Color Street with Jackie and Shannon and a couple others, we did another business with another company, and I killed myself. When my messenger would ding, I would grab my phone. When my phone would ring, a text or a phone call, I would grab my phone. And it didn't matter if we were in the middle of dinner, in the middle of a movie, you guys, like in church on silent, I would be like peeking in my purse. Like at that time, that's what I thought was right? Because you think, oh my God, if I don't answer, I'm going to lose a sale. I'm going to lose a person. That could be true, but let me tell you from experience, it is not worth killing yourself over. You have to set the foundation for how your clients, how your stylists are going to treat you and respect you. Obviously, if it's like super important, you can use your own discretion, but the best thing you can do, because we are business owners, this is legit, like we are making an income. The best thing that we can do is set business hours for like 100 reasons. I have sticky notes, you guys. Here's the reasons. The whole point of running your own business is so you can have a life. You left like the outside job world because you could not have a life. So the whole purpose of having business hours and running a business is you want to have your family time, your personal time, your business time, and none of those should become a gray area. And if they start to, that's okay, but you have to continue to really try to separate them. Business hours also, if you don't set those for yourself, this job will turn into that retail job, that corporate job. You will still be working the same way, killing yourself. Back to like setting precedents, like, yes, you can text me or message me at 8, but I may or may not get it because I like to get into bed at 8 and I may not want to talk business at 8, like plain and simple. There's nothing wrong with that. People will respect you if you write them the next day and say, oh, sorry that, I saw your message. Sorry I didn't write back. I was having my family time or, whatever. Business hours too are really helpful because I think that they help you keep your eye on the priority, on the prize. If you're just kind of like think of a machine or like a car. If a car didn't have every single working part and each part had its specific reason, like why it was there, our cars wouldn't run, you guys. They would be just a bunch of junk, not functioning. So think of your business the same way. You have to have these certain parts to let it run smooth. And again, from experience, you have to hold yourself to that. If you have to set like a timer or a reminder, like, okay, ding, 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 okay, it's time to work for 1 hour, and then have it planned out. Okay, in this hour, I'm going to do this. And when that timer beeps again, I'm going to have X, Y, Z done. And then that's it. Once that timer beeps, you have to move on. Tying into that, business hours again, like plan out what you're going to do. That calendar app, that thing is it's a lifesaver. You can make the same thing on on every Monday of, every week. You can repeat, like whatever you want to do. You can add stuff to it. Some of you girls that have team members, with you, like other stylists, you guys can make your own calendar and add to it. I never used to do this. And then I would look up and it was 11 o'clock at night and I was still working and I couldn't go to bed yet, or, excuses, when that's not how the real world works. Like businesses do close. You have to have that time to close up shop, get your rest, be with your family, recuperate and start all over the next day. Also too, business hours help you with effectiveness. You have to be like purpose driven. If you're just like just all over the place with no plan, that's what your business is going to look like. It's going to look like it's all over the place with no end game. Like there's no end goal. So, it's just really, it takes a little bit of adjusting, but once you get yourself into that routine, it is so nice. Like I don't even, nothing Color Street till 8:30. I get my kids up and out the door, off to school at 8. I'm talking to Jackie and Shannon in the line, like, get these kids out of my car. At 8:30, it's business time. And this is going to look different for everybody because, like, for me, I have 3 kids, but I have twins that are in 5th grade, and my youngest is in 3rd grade. So they can survive on their own versus some people who have smaller kids where you're needed 24/7. So you have to figure out what, like Jackie said or Shannon said, like, find those little windows of opportunity where you can sit and block out some time. Usually they fall around the same time every day, nap time, or when your kids are having snack. Put your business hours into that. If you need to crank out 30 minutes, but you cannot sit for 30 minutes, do 3 sets of 10 minutes, do 2 15 minutes, but make sure that when you sit down to do 15 minutes twice a day, the end of that 30 minutes, there has to be a conclusion, a goal, something that you can check off your list, or whatever. So I don't know. I just have, things like to really help, like set goals, give yourself deadlines, plan ahead. Something too for us that I hadn't really thought about until recently is we work from home and we're on our phones and the computer all the time. Give yourself that time to get up, put your phone down and get up, get off the computer, get up, walk around, go outside, go for a walk, whatever. You do not have to be like on your phone all day, every day, on the computer all day, every day, because you're going to work hard right now with the end goal that at some point you're not going to have to do it like this forever. And that's going to feel so good, but you have to get yourself, into this routine now, so that way down the road, you can kind of step back and take more time for yourself. If you do it right, that's how it should happen. People start businesses all the time, and once they're flourishing and, functioning on their own, they don't have to be on the phone 24/7. They don't have to be doing stuff 24/7 because they have done it right, and it's from the get-go, and it's managing themselves and what they're doing with their time, because like Shannon said, we all get the same amount of time. So how are you going to use the slots of time that you have free? And then when you get there, how are you going to use that time? So that's all I got. It takes a little while, but I promise you, my kids and husband are still alive, and I am like, nope, it's work time. Or I'm like, yep, it's time for me to make some money. And they're just like, you just get used to it after a while, and it's no different. I think it's no different than like your kids' routine. We get our kids up every day at the same time, feed them at the same time every day, put them to bed at the same time. That's the same way for mama when she needs to work. And if you start now, it's going to look so good, you guys. In a few months, in a year, you're going to be like, I am so glad that I started to do it like this. Okay, Jack, I'm done.
Oh, I love y'all so much. Yes, and I just want to piggyback on a couple of things, and then we're going to hop off. I want to talk to you that do work full time, and maybe you're sitting here thinking like, oh, I can't make it work. I can't get to the top working full time, and how am I going to do this? And y'all don't know, but we have 2 girls above me. So my upline is Leah, and then her upline is Jen. She is a full-time, oh Lord, I don't even know what she is. She's really smart. She's something really smart. And in the midst of building her Color Street business, working full-time, and getting her master's, she just hit executive director, which is like very, very high. That is incredible, and it's doable. It just goes to show that it's so doable if you really, really want this and you put your head down and you get to work. But it's going to take like sitting down and getting a plan. It doesn't just happen. So I want to, those that are working full time, and she loves her job and she never plans to quit her job, but she also loves this business and has decided like she really wants something out of this business. So I wanted to talk about her, and then I want to talk very quickly. We have to make sure anything we set for ourselves is sustainable. So for me, like right now, I am making sure that my schedule is something that I can sustain for the next year. Like I have my time slots that I know, okay, this is my life for the next year, and this is what is sustainable. We don't want you guys to get burned out. We don't want y'all to go balls to the wall for like 50 hours a week and get to the top of the company, and then you're like exhausted and you want to quit. Like, that's not the plan at all. This is something that we want that you sustain, is very sustainable for your plan or for your life. And we can talk all day about like all these business hours, but if you don't know what to do within those business hours, this is really pointless. So I want to make sure that you guys are going to the resources that we have set up in the team page, in the units section. There is so much stuff in there. The biggest thing I think that helps me in getting to where I want to be in these kind of companies is I am a researcher and I am a learner, and I am obsessed with making sure I just know it all. I like to be a know-it-all. So when I first signed up with Color Street, we had nothing. We had no training. It was nothing. There was nothing. And so I got on YouTube, and that's how I became obsessed with Kelly France. I got on YouTube and I researched. I just watched all videos I could watch, and I found all the resources I could find, and I threw myself in just knowing the business. So if you don't do anything tonight, first figure out why you want to do this and how many hours you want to put in a day that can last you a while. And then second, go look in the resources, go in the units tab. If you haven't done the new stylist training, go through that. But there's so much more in there, like that checklist that I was talking about. There's so many things about how to throw a party. So within your business hours, you're going to be posting in your parties and things like that. So, and then how to start branding yourself. And I mean, we have a lot, and there's going to continue to be stuff added in there, but we can talk all day about all these hours that we want to set for business. But if you don't know what to do within those hours, it's kind of pointless. So go in the unit section. I encourage you to research on your own too, even beyond what we've provided for you guys. Go watch all the YouTube videos you can find under Kelly France or whatever you can find. And then if you find something good, share it. We would love for you to share it in the team page. But with that said, I think we're done. Does anybody have any questions about time management or, I don't know, whatever? Anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourself. And this can be about anything. It doesn't even have to be about time management. It's just a good time. We have 7 more minutes. Anybody? No? Perfect. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'm so glad you guys hopped on. We are going to have these every single week. So just put it on your calendar. We never really know what it's going to be about, but we will let you know. If anybody has any topics that you do want us to go over, let us know and we can get those scheduled. But I adore every single one of you and cannot believe that we had this many people on a call that kind of was last minute. So I am honored, you guys, to even be on this team with you guys. So love you guys. I'll chat with y'all later. Y'all have a good night. Bye, guys.